Welcome to the Her Empowered Divorce Live Show. I'm your host, Beverly Price. With my 30 years of divorce coaching experience, I fully prepare you for the critical decisions that will impact you for the rest of your life. Through this show, you'll gain valuable insights on all the aspects of divorce, from the logistical and financial to the emotional and legal. With expert guests, practical advice, actionable tips, and inspiring conversations, we'll explore how to master your divorce and emerge stronger on the other side. You don't have to face this journey alone. Let's start this journey together and create a better future. My guest today is amazing. Her name is Stacy Francis, and she's a certified financial planner, a certified divorce financial analyst, and the president and CEO of Francis Financial. I am so passionate about this topic because financial abuse is not only something that we've ignored for decades, but it's also something that many people that are receiving it or undergoing that abuse don't even recognize. Hey, Stacy, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Beverly, and I'm so happy that you are shining a light on this very little spoken about topic today.
It's so important. I remember looking back after learning more about financial abuse and looking back at my marriages and divorces and realizing, oh my God, I was financially abused.
Yeah.
So I want to help other women. So, to start off, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, so happy to do so. My life calling is to work with women who are on their own. And almost all of our clients are rebuilding their life during or after a divorce or after their spouse has passed away. And so we work hand in hand with them. If it's through their divorce, their legal team as well, ensuring that they are not only financially secure during the process, but for the long term as well. And then we manage your portfolio. We make sure it's growing the way that you need it to so that you can have the growth, the income that you need to live that beautifully financially secure life.
Amazing. Such a great task. Why are you in particular so passionate about financial abuse?
I am passionate really because I saw firsthand financial abuse in my own life growing up. My dear grandmother, one of the most special people in my life, was married to a very bad man. I loved my grandfather because he was my grandfather, but I also hated him. I saw how
Gotcha.
he treated her, and he mistreated her, not only emotionally, but there was also financial abuse. And Beverly, as in many
Mm,
cases, unfortunately, there was physical abuse as well. And
right.
it just turned her into a shell of herself. And I'll tell you, no one on the face of the planet deserves to be treated that way.
Hmm. It's interesting because it has really nothing to do with the victim. It's all about the abuser's need for power and control, right?
It is, and, financial abuse, it's truly the abuser's, way of controlling someone, and,
Mhm.
in domestic violence situations, um, the the abuser is really paramount, wants to control. So they use money to manipulate, to intimidate, to threaten that victim through finances in order to entrap them, in order to make sure that they are solely dependent, unable to escape from that relationship.
Mhm. I read a statistic that said upwards of 90% of physical abuse cases also involve financial abuse. Is that what you're seeing as well?
Yes, Beverly, we definitely are seeing that. But what I think is really interesting is that many of the women who are experiencing this don't recognize it as a type of abuse. They often, through gaslighting, through intimidation, believe that maybe they're not smart enough, that they made mistakes, maybe that they're not to be trusted, or alternatively, their partner is better with money. Because financial abuse is not a type of abuse that happens all at once. It's a very insidious type of abuse that comes into play and existence usually over a longer period of time
Hmm.
until you wake up and look at and realize, and we can talk about more of those warning signs because I think that's really important. But all of a sudden you
Right.
wake up and realize that you've been completely excluded from, any of the finances of your partnership.
Absolutely. How does financial abuse manifest itself?
It manifests in a lot of ways. And so this is really important for all the people, particularly this happens most often to women listening. Um, Trying to control your access to money, either by insisting that they can see into your bank account, obtaining passwords to your financial accounts, maybe refusing to share passwords with joint accounts and for their accounts with you. Um, Potentially even using your credit cards. We've seen credit cards debt being taken out in the victim's name without their permission, which FYI
Right.
is illegal, but does happen. Not allowing you to have your own credit card or bank accounts, or if you do have your credit card, anytime you use it, they would be setting up an alert so that they get an
Hmm.
alert of what you've spent
Right.
money on and how much. Um, these are all things that
That's
slowly
terrible.
can occur over time on the financial piece. And it actually can escalate into, not allowing you to work, not being supportive, trying to sabotage you
Hmm.
with your career. I've even worked with clients where the husband has confiscated the car to make them have to find a different way to get
Yes.
to work. I've even seen where the account that's receiving her paycheck, that he goes in and immediately transfers it out of that joint account into his account solely so that she has no access even to the dollars that she has worked so hard for, that she has earned.
Yes.
So it really can show up in a lot of very just unhealthy, insidious, awful ways.
Mm. That is so terrible. Are there any warning signs, whether it's before a relationship begins or you're in the relationship? Are there any warning signs of financial abuse?
So there definitely are warning signs of financial abuse. You know, like I said, it typically doesn't uh, happen overnight. And often you'll see that the people who are most likely to engage in this behavior are people that are trying to have control. And so if you're dating and you're seeing that your spouse is, potentially trying to control, when you're going out, who you're spending time with, gets very jealous. These are all things that can lead to that. But then once you are in a partnership, that's when you start to really see this occur because you may not be dealing with, you may not be sharing finances during that dating situation.
Right.
And so what we
And they
do
may
see
be on their best behavior, kind of being sweet and that to kind of hook you in.
exactly, exactly. You're seeing the fictitious mask of who they want you to see. And it can start and feel very not in any way threatening. It could be that he says, you know what, honey, I see that, dealing with, you know, budgeting and dealing with the finances is kind of stressing you out, or you are so busy, let me take that over, which doesn't
Yes.
sound like a bad thing. Sounds like he's being lovely and sweet. But unfortunately, number one, that's the first step to then excluding you from the finances. And for any woman, no matter whether you like being involved with the finances or not, it's not a choice. You have to be. You have to be even in a happily ever after marriage because God forbid if something happens to him, a stroke,
Right.
loses a job, God forbid passes away. And I deal with the women who reach out to us who have never touched the finances in happily married couples who now are on their own and so far behind the eight ball with their finances that we have to start at ground zero. And
Right.
it really leaves them in an unbelievably vulnerable situation.
Absolutely. I think too, one of the things I think about is all of the generations of women and how we were raised that girls aren't as good at math as boys, that men handle finances and understand finances better. Money is so complex that you come to the point where you think, oh, I can't handle this, but he can do better. Do you see some of that as well?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, it's a lack of confidence. It's a lack of
Mhm.
confidence in our ability, and it's primarily because we just don't have as much experience. And I liken it to the first time that you got behind the wheel of a car to learn how to drive, right? It was very
Mhm.
frightening. I know for me it was very scary. But now I drive all the time and I don't even think about it. Why? Because I
Right.
have that experience. It's the same thing with finances. And Beverly, the other thing I want to say is I want to challenge this myth. This myth that men are better at math than women. Because
Right.
actually, studies have shown that on average, females get higher grades in school in math classes at all grade levels, higher grades than men.
Amazing.
So I would just like to
So
throw
it's
that out there.
totally a
That
myth.
that is a myth. It is absolutely a myth. And the lack of confidence that we have, again, with finances, with budgeting, with all these pieces, it's not because we can't do the math. We can. It's just we haven't had as much exposure to it. Like, can you imagine if you're being given a test on calculus and you've had no teaching around calculus? Of course you
Right.
would have no clue, right? And that's what we're asking so many women to do is we're asking them to make decisions about their finances, expecting them to know the answers when quite frankly, no one's been taught. No one has been taught.
Yeah. And we haven't been taught in our families growing up either, families or school. I
You know,
mean,
and
like
Beverly,
when I grew up, money was taboo. I didn't
mhm.
know how much my father earned till I was 35. So it was really kind of this clouded topic.
You know, you're right, and I'm glad you share that because Beverly, your experience is the experience of millions of women and also men out there. I think more so for women. But yes, money is definitely still a taboo topic where, discussing personal finance, we've been raised for a lot of households that it's a private matter, that it should be
Mhm.
held in the confidence of that household. And what it ends up and how it shows up though is a lack of financial education and literacy. And so
Absolutely.
we're minting generation after generation who is unfortunately again behind the financial eight ball.
Amazing. I've had clients too that are top executive women earning six figures.
Hmm.
And their fear is that their success emasculates the man. So they turn over all the finances to the man. And I had a client that not only woke up and found that her investments accounts and savings accounts were drained, but he had transferred that money into accounts for his mother, so she couldn't get to it. It was so amazing. I couldn't believe it. He had transferred money into properties in the mother's name, into investment accounts. It was terrible. And her reaction is, I should have known better. I've been educated. I know how to do math and budgeting and accounting at work. Why didn't I see this?
Yeah, it's well, it's a challenge. I understand this myself because I'm a breadwinning woman too, and actually, I'm not alone. According to the Bureau of Statistics, the number is actually about 30% of marriages. She makes more than he does, and Beverly, this is kind of a new phenomenon. Um, we
Mhm.
haven't, we haven't seen numbers this high ever in history. And while I think it's fantastic for women, I know that there is some real challenges with it because the typical person out there, if you are asking them, is it important for a man to be able to support their families financially, to be considered a good partner? Um, you know, 7 in 10 are going to say yes. That's what equals a good partner and a man you know, really fulfilling his duty in a marriage. So with that, I mean, it can be really hard. So I feel like women, we've made a lot of strides in what we're doing in the workforce. There are more women graduating from college than men. There are a lot of really good things, but I will tell you the gaps in income in marriages can create some real challenges, both
Mhm.
from a from a you know communication perspective, but also from her sometimes feeling like she's playing the masculine role and trying to make sure that he doesn't feel quote unquote threatened. There are so many pieces about this that are out there, but I back to that financial abuse. One of the myths is that financial abuse doesn't happen in marriages where she's earning the money and he's not. And I have
Exactly.
to tell you, that is not true. That is not true. Just because you are the breadwinner doesn't mean that financial abuse can occur. And unfortunately, far too marriages, it still does occur.
What are all the different types of financial abuse? Is, for example, one of the spouses running up credit cards? Is that a form of financial abuse?
Yes, it is a form of financial abuse. There, I like this word because I feel like it really encapsulates a lot of what financial abuse is. It's definitely the controlling piece that we talked about before.
Right.
But but there's a second piece too that's really important, and it's called financial infidelity. And
Mm,
very few people have heard of financial infidelity. So let me tell you what it means. It is exactly what you just spoke about, Beverly. Opening accounts and running up credit. Maybe it's actually in that person's own name, but not telling her, right?
right.
Even worse, opening up credit card accounts or debt in her name, forging her
Hmm.
name. Um, Other types of financial infidelity are things like marital dissipation, using money for non marital reasons, such as a girlfriend, a gambling habit,
Mm.
a drug habit. I'm working with a woman right now whose husband donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to a religious organization
Oh my goodness.
without her knowledge. Now they have nothing left other than the value of their home, and she's realized that he's taken out not one but two mortgages on it. So
Oh
these
my.
are all
It's
signs.
tragic.
It is tragic, and unfortunately, a lot of individuals don't realize this is going on until they say, "I've had it." We're either getting a separation or a divorce. And then when he's required to turn over that financial information, because through the discovery process, you are required to do that. And if not, your lawyer will subpoena documents to get that information. It can be a very unpleasant surprise to see
Hmm.
the true picture and unfortunately how bad it really is.
Because that would be considered marital assets and debts, right?
It is, and that's what this wonderful woman is dealing with is she has found that there is, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt that have been taken out during the marriage, and it's been used to be donated to this, again, religious organization. Now, that being said, that word marital dissipation is a really important word to know for anyone listening. It's a technical word, but if you are going to have a separation or a divorce, you want to talk to your lawyer about, can this spending be classified as marital dissipation? Meaning that at your settlement would potentially be that much higher to make up for those assets that your spouse squandered. And again, it's
Yes.
not for the cost of college education for your child. That's not marital
Right.
dissipation. It's not the cost for a family vacation. It's for things that are not for the marriage. Again, addiction with drugs, gambling, um,
Sex.
girlfriend,
Yeah.
sex addiction as well. Essentially doing things that are not for the good of the family without also having consent and knowledge of you, the other spouse.
Wow. Are there things that women could do, maybe going into the marriage or in the marriage, that could either eliminate the chance of financial abuse or reduce the impact?
Yeah, there are actually a lot of pieces. The number one piece is what I had talked about before, making sure that you are always involved in the finances. Number one. Number two, that you have your own accounts. You have your own credit card. So you're building your own credit history, that you have a checking account, a savings account in your name, and that you have money in there as well.
Right.
These are the things that are really important. Other areas that a lot of people will talk about is getting a prenuptial agreement.
Hmm.
That is really powerful because that prenuptial agreement, for it to be valid, it needs to list all of the assets that you're coming to the marriage with and all the
Mm.
debts that you're
Okay.
coming to the marriage with, along with that of your partner. And so here you are, and you're able to see very carefully, in a very clear way, what your future spouse is coming to the marriage with. And, I don't want to get into reality shows, but there's a show going on right now called um, Married at First Sight. And the literally 2 days before this couple was set to get married, they had a conversation about finances, and she learned that her soon to be spouse had a very poor credit score
Mm.
and had a very bad history of credit. And when she got to the altar, she actually said no. And she said that, I need to know you more to make sure that this past behavior is not going to be future behavior in our marriage, because I need to stand up for myself and I need to be marrying a partner who is as financially responsible as I am. And
Wow.
it was a little
What
shocking,
strength? What strength?
right? And I'm sure there were some people that said, "Oh, she's all about money," or "She's all about that." No. You know, it obviously marrying someone after 3 weeks, which is this show, of course, is, quite fast.
Right,
But
right.
good for again, good for her, number 1, for having that conversation, although, I mean, 2 days before getting married, I feel like is a little, late.
Yeah,
Um,
little soon.
but those are things to do. What is your credit score? What is your debt? What assets do you have? How much do you spend? How much are you able to save on a monthly basis? What are your goals? What is going to make you happy and feel financially secure long term? These are all really important conversations to be having to make sure that you and your partner are on the same page. You know, Not that I have the perfect marriage, but I will tell you it's a pretty good one. And my husband and I have been together now, oh my gosh, 23 years. And one of the many things we talked about before we got married was what our hopes and dreams were financially and how we could work together financially as a couple that made him feel secure and happy and also for me. And we had to work on it. We really did,
Hmm.
especially when I mean, we got married in our early 20s. So we had a lot of learning to do. But blessed that we've always had that open communication, and because of that, um, we're in a very strong marriage and a very strong financial position too. Those are important conversations to have with your partner because marriage is about love. It sure is, but it's about a lot more too.
And if they're unwilling to have that conversation, that's a big red flag.
Beverly, I'm so happy that you brought that up because you're right. If they're unwilling to have that conversation, it it means that you have some work to do. Either, potentially couples counseling, right? To peel back
Hmm.
the layers. Maybe they grew up in a family where, money was a taboo topic. Maybe they're ashamed of where they are at. It could be many things. And so that is a red flag to tell you, okay, doesn't mean this isn't a great person. It just means that there's something here. There's something in their past. It could be a trauma, it could be something. Let's let's find the tools to have this conversation.
Right. Absolutely. We're going to take a quick break now for a word from our sponsor and then be right back. Many of us have been taught to spend all our time, money, and energy investing in husbands, children, family, and others, but not ourselves. Divorce is not the time to do this. I'm Beverly Price, the empowering divorce coach who guides women on their journey before, during, and after divorce. The next steps you take will set the stage for your entire divorce and life after. I help you prepare fully for what is to come, understand and navigate the process, come to terms with your emotions, and avoid costly mistakes. I help you create an empowered life during divorce and after. With the right support and guidance, you can move through the process with knowledge, strength, and confidence. Schedule a free consultation with me today at herempowereddivorce.com and let's journey to the other side of divorce together. And we're back to the show. Stacy, I know that there's a topic you're very passionate about, and that's savvy ladies. Can you tell me what Savvy Ladies is, what you do, how it started, just kind of the whole scoop about it?
Yeah, no, I happy to share. Savvy Ladies is, I really believe, part of the reason of why I was put on this earth. And my dear grandmother that I spoke about earlier in the show, who suffered from both financial abuse as well as physical abuse, is actually the woman who inspired me to create this beautiful charity. Savvy
Oh,
Ladies
how
is
how wonderful.
yeah, it's my It really is my love letter to her. And through Savvy Ladies, we work with tens of thousands of women pro bono through our 250 plus financial literacy self paced courses. We also have hundreds of TED Talk like topics, videos that you can listen to, and even live events. We have Savvy Ladies in all 50 states, and there is no income threshold. If you have a financial question, we want you to ask. And I'll tell you, Beverly, the most powerful piece of Savvy Ladies, in addition to being able to get financially savvy through our content, is our helpline. Our helpline is the only helpline in the nation where you can go to our website, go to our app, call, and you are connected to work one on one with personalized financial counseling with a certified financial planner, a volunteer
Mm.
that works one on one with you for an hour, even up to an hour and a half, to tackle your biggest financial questions. And I will tell you, we have so many women that are calling in questions about financial abuse, about retirement, about divorce, about all the financial topics that we as women need to know. And actually, we are on track this year to be matching over 3,000 women who are financially vulnerable with our over
Wow.
280 CFP, certified financial planning, certified divorce financial analysts, and accountant experts, as well as debt experts, cash flow experts. We even have, if you can believe it, accredited financial therapists and counselors. Um, and so
Wow.
please do reach out. Again, it's all free of charge, and we don't sell
Do you have
anything.
the hotline number that we can share?
Yes, so it's actually even easier than that. You go to savvyladies.org and SAVVY ladies.org. Right on the website, you can see very clearly. You can click to the helpline. You just input, it takes about 3 minutes, your question that goes to our query, and then our top experts will go ahead and get in touch with you. So it's a great resource and it's available to women all over the world.
That's amazing. Are you also looking for more professionals, more certified financial planners, and individuals like that to help you?
You know what, Beverly? We sure are. And I
Okay.
just met with our volunteers. We, as volunteers, meet quarterly. And I'll tell you, the nicest group of people you can imagine. Why? Because they're giving their time to help women really who are financially vulnerable and need this access to financial education and answers. So we are always looking for CFPs, certified divorce financial analysts, credit counselors, all the important people that women need to get their questions answered.
With Her Empowered Divorce, I have a newsletter that goes to divorce professionals. If you would like to place a little story in there about the kinds of people you want to help, I'd be very happy for you to do that.
That is a fantastic idea, my dear. And, for all of you listening to, feel free to share this news. And the more women that we can help, the better. And, what we've been able to do is phenomenal. But I know that there's a lot more that we need to do too, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And you can also make donations to Savvy Ladies. Some of you may know I founded the Divorce Coalition, which is a group of divorce professionals dedicated to raising the awareness of domestic violence and abuse. And on that site, or on the Savvy Ladies site, you can make donations to the organization to help them with their mission.
You got it. And you go right on the website. You can make a tax deductible donation. Also, you'll see on the website, we are celebrating 20 years of championing women's
Woo!
financial literacy. And we are actually capping it off with a very special celebration on November 1st. You'll go under news and events on the website. You'll see that we have our gala, and it's here in New York City. But if you're not in New York, don't worry. It also is going to be virtually streamed with some great interactive content too, so that wherever you are in the world, you can participate. Again, that's going to be November 1st. Your ticket is also tax deductible. And again, we would love, absolutely love to have your support and be able to be there. Not to mention, I'll tell you, coming to that event, you're just going to feel great, and you're going to feel that much more empowered around your own financial situation to be able to make sure that you're on track.
That's amazing. And we need to put that in the Divorce Coalition newsletter as well.
Yeah, yeah. And so, Savvy Ladies is really important. Funny enough, I started Savvy Ladies, I was 26. And the year
Woo!
after, when I was 27, I created my independent financial planning investment management firm, Francis Financial, actually to pay for the charity. But Francis Financial now, we work with about 225 people, almost all women. Again, helping them through the divorce process, also working with them ongoing investment management, financial planning, essentially anything with a dollar attached to it, we help them with. So if that's something that's interesting for you too, feel free to go to francisfinancial.com. Again, a great resource. And that's more so if someone wants to work with a financial advisor, more so ongoing.
Gotcha. So we'll have a lot of Stacy's information in the show notes, but once again, Stacy, can you share how people can find you?
Exactly. A couple things. So, like I said, I just shared the Savvy Ladies website. You can also go to www.francisfinancial.com. I would love for everyone to go there because right on the website, you're going to see a very special free giveaway for you. And it's called Unveiling the Unspoken Truth. It's a book that we
And
wrote.
I have a copy. It's amazing. I'll testify to that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's right there on the website that you can get a copy of this. And it's really powerful and important because we talk about the financial challenges that women face both during and after divorce. And more importantly, how you can make sure to overcome them. The team you need, the information you need are all in there. And this is my real gift to anyone that possibly can benefit. So please do look at that. And then you'll also see on the website my podcast. So we've been running 6 years, and the first five
Wow.
years we have done, if you can believe it, over 100 episodes of anything you can ever imagine you would need to know about divorce and finances. So feel free to check that out. It's a great resource and I think really helpful.
Wonderful. Stacy, thank you so much for being my guest today. Your knowledge is so broad and it's so helpful to women. I'm very, very grateful for your contribution.
Oh, thank you, Beverly. And I have to say, thank you for all the time and effort that you put into this show. I know it comes from your heart, and I know that it is definitely a heavy lift. And you put so much out there to help women. It's really needs to be recognized because, again, I know how much work you do and how much you care about women.
Oh, thank you so much. And to the audience, thank you so much for being our guest today on this episode of Her Empowered Divorce Live. All of Stacy's information will be available in the show notes along with mine, and this and all our other episodes can be found on our YouTube channel, which will be in the show notes as well. You can find us every Friday morning at 9 a.m. going live, but we're also on YouTube for the recording of our show. We'd love to have you. Please share our stories with your friends so that we can reach out and help as many women as possible. With the right support and guidance, you can move through the divorce process with knowledge, skills, and confidence and on to a time of growth and empowerment. Join me for our next episode next Thursday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I'll be diving deeper into what another expert professional can share to help you on your separation journey. And remember, you can find more information about my divorce coaching at www.herempowereddivorce.com. Until next time, thank you and stay empowered.